What up, dog? This your man, Cedric Louie from Handz Up Management. You now watching Nolazine.
Okay, so I'm like, tell the world where you from.
I'm from Detroit, Michigan, East Side.
Okay, so let's start it. We're gonna bring it back. So how did you actually become a manager?
Man, that's a loaded question. So, when I was in high school, or even when I was a little kid, I played in the band. So, my grandfather was like a jazz enthusiast. My biological father, like, he DJ like for fun and stuff like that, but he didn't really take it serious. But like, and then my stepfather was a hip hop fanatic, you know what I'm saying? Like me and him used to be in the basements listening to vinyls and hip hop, Michael Jackson, like all kind of music. Like actually my first ever concert that I went to was the Michael Jackson Bad Tour at the Palace of Auburn Hills. I was like 5 years old or something like that. So, I just had a love of music around me. So I fell in love with music. I played in the band in elementary school. Middle school and high school, I more so got into sports. And I really didn't think it was something that I could do professionally. So, I didn't know. But when I went to college, the bug just caught me. So I started like fucking around with like making beats and shit like that. But once I got into it, and it's like, all right, let me figure out how the music industry worked. I discovered a company called Violator Management with Chris Lighty and Mona Scott and all them. And, they had like a gang of artists, Fat Joe, Big Pun, Puff, LL, Buster, Missy, So like you reading the credits and I keep seeing their name pop up as management. I just started really following them. And then I just started diving into like what makes the industry work. And I just fell in love with the business side of it.
Gotcha. So being one like music manager is one very tough business that people don't talk about. Like like you can actually work with an artist from the beginning, and like soon as they get on, they can fire you. And like it's a lot of stuff. Like but actually before we go all the way into that, like I want you to tell the people who don't know what is the actual duties of a music manager, because everybody got like a little confused.
Okay, so number one, your music manager does not finance your career. That's number one. I think that's the number one misconception when I want a manager, but then they want you to pay for everything. That's not a manager's job. That's more so like a production company. So like if you got somebody financing, it's like they basically your label. You know what I'm saying? That's number one. But the duties of a manager is you like the quarterback, right? It's like you run the plays for your client, like so you connect. You got your booking agent, you got the record label that you got to deal with. When you go on the road, you got a road manager, you got a DJ. You're just a facilitator for the artist, like quarterback, point guard, however you wanna, look at it. But yeah, you the facilitator for the artist.
Gotcha. So like being a music like if you being one like manager, I'm like, what was the hardest thing that you actually had to deal with?
The hardest thing I had to deal with, probably figuring out the right artist to work with, right? So it's a lot of talented people in the world, and you come across, you see a lot of people got different gifts, but you can't force an artist or any creative to want it. So I think that was probably my biggest mistake, is like trying to force people to like, you good, you need to do this, and trying to drag them along. And it's like, yeah, it's noble and all that shit, but fuck that. Like the artist gotta want it more than you. Like you should be having to catch up to the artist. The artist should be working every day. The artist should be on your line. The artist should be like, I'm doing this. And even like I said, they not necessarily putting it together, but they creating the opportunities. The opportunities gonna always come from the artist. From them putting themselves out there, they're gonna attract things, and it's just your job to take these opportunities that's coming to them and make them make sense.
Gotcha. So, like, explain, like, what is one on an average day like for you?
An average day. I get up probably around like 8. Like, I'll take a lot of calls. Like, I'll probably go to sleep. Like, first of all, I'll probably go to sleep like around like 3, 4. So I'll get up at 8. Like, I'll go through my emails, do stuff. Might take me a little nap. So I learned, like, fuck all that no sleep gang and all that shit. They like that shit. Like, I'm working with my brain all day. So it's like, that shit is exhausting. So, like, I might take me a little nap, then get back up. And then shit just get in motion and whatever the priority is for that day. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I kind of break my days down. It's based on what's priority. Like, because I work with multiple clients. So everything's not important that day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I kind of like prioritize like the tasks that I have to knock out for each client and shit, just do that. And I got my kids, so basketball, and my oldest son just graduated from college, so he a little bit more not, what I'm saying, he don't need me as much, but my youngest son play basketball, he 10, so like deal with my kids and family stuff and shit, then whatever, go to the studio, or if it's a show or an event I gotta go to later in the evening. So I mean, it's pretty much a typical day.
Gotcha. So let's bring it back. So who was your first client?
My first client, crazy. So my first ever client is my homeboy. His name's Kenny Lockhart, and we still work to this day. We actually have a clothing line we launching called Perspective Apparel brand. He does some videography work too, but he actually, me and him met in college. Football, we played football together in college. And him and my man Corey Walker, who was one of like my first clients too, they used to be battle rapping each other and shit. Corey actually was on 106 in Park on the Freestyle Friday on the battles they used to have on 106 Park, BT back in the day. Corey actually went to that. But yeah, Kenny and Corey, those my first 2 clients. I'm still like I said, both of them are still like my good friends to this day. Locke he got incarcerated for 7 years. And that kind of like shifted his focus. But when he came home, got the clothing thing going and doing videography work. So yeah, those are my 2 guys. Gotcha. We still, like I said, them still my friends to this very day. Like, I talk to them all the time.
Gotcha. So, probably 10 years ago, I'm like Detroit, on that music scene, and like jump back up because, it be like for a while, it would kind of die down, pick back up. So like, how can you, explain, how can you explain actually, Detroit's, music scene?
Okay, so, yeah, we did. So, like, in the early, like, the end of the 90s, early 2000s, locally we had, you had the East Side Cheddar Boys, the Street Lords, Rock Bottom, like, all those guys. That was, like, a wave. Then it was, like, it was a little break, and then you had my guy Helliver, who's one of my clients, his group Made West. So that's like 05. They had a wave, and then you had the Lodge Boys. Then you had Stretch Money. Now Stretch Money kind of was like, of all those guys, Stretch Money had this record that Helliver produced actually called Take Money to Make Money, and that record went to radio. Now I was working in radio at this time, and man, that record went bananas on the radio. That shit was getting played like 100 times a week in Detroit. So anybody that do radio know, like, a record getting played 100 times, like, that shit was in power rotation. So then you had that wave. Then it was kind of quiet. It was kind of quiet for a minute. And then you had the Dope Boys Cash Outs. Like, so Dope Boy Cash Out, they probably like started like this new current wave. They probably like, they started it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was out in high school throwing parties and all that, and they had their music out there, and their music was like taking off in the streets. And then following them, you had Team Eastside, which a lot of those guys is popping right now. From the Babyface Rays, the PZ, the producer Dame Dot, rest in peace Snoop, like GT. You had those guys, and then from there they kind of just inspired the wave, and then the thing that kind of broke the door open for us was when T Grizzly and Helliver did First Day Out. and that like broke the door open first day out. And then also you got to credit Sada and Drago too with Block Party. Like that record like took off, and then shit we ain't looked back since for real.
Right. But the crazy part is like every time I'm like when I talk to people, I'm like from Detroit, they always talk about like actually what they're around. Like if you around like street music, you're not gonna mention Eminem and everybody else. You're gonna mention the people you around.
I'm saying, but we talking about the current state, right? So because I come from Eminem, right? Like one of my first
as well,
yeah.
Right?
So one of my first big clients, like when I got into it, was these producers named Signos.
Okay.
And they produced a record called How Come for D12. But Proof was very instrumental in like our success of that record happening. They had did a project before that with Proof and Dogmatic that Maurice Malone had put together called Promatic, which is how they caught the attention of Eminem, because M came to Proof like, yo, who did these beats? You know what I'm saying? So Proof like turned them on to the guys. But actually that song How Come happened for Bizarre, brought a beat CD to M, and that's how the How Come record happened. And M, that shit was the biggest shit in the world, bro. Like, so that's where I come from. You know what I'm saying? A lot of, even how I linked up with Rob through my man Stan and Jay down in Florida with Say La Vie. And me and Stan got linked up through Paul Rosenberg. Cause Stan had some business with Paul at Def Jam with Fredo and them. And Paul been like somebody who I've talked to and a mentor type figure, you know what I'm saying, for my career. Like when I call him when I need to, it's like I would say we like best of friends, but he definitely somebody when I need to call and ask for advice, he always been there to respond and give me some advice. And he just told me, he's like, yo, it's this dude in Miami you need to meet. I think y'all could be beneficial to each other. He linked us up. And then Stan is how I ultimately end up meeting Rob, because they signed Rob and they introduced me to Rob. I came down to New Orleans and shit, we here now.
Been on ever since, huh?
Yeah.
So I want you to actually explain if Rob49 as one on the individual and the music artist.
As an individual, I do individual first. As an individual, Rob is one of the most solid people I ever met in my life. The way him and his family operate, shout out Miss Chrissy, Kels, Big Rob, as a family unit, they move in sync. You know what I'm saying? And they see what Rob can be, and they all come together both trying to make sure that shit happens. So they took me in like family. So he one of the most solid dudes I met. Yeah, that's all. That's self-explanatory. I can go in many examples, but Rob's solid as fuck.
Gotcha. So far as one music artist, actually, what do you see his music career going?
Rob a superstar. Again, but that goes back to his character. You know what I'm saying? He a solid dude, so good things happen to good people, and he willing to put in the work to go to the level that he need to go to. He gon' Rob got hundreds of songs that's recorded right now that he could just keep going. You know what I'm saying? So he got the work ethic. Like I say again, he attract good people to work with him. So you know what I'm saying, when he down there in Miami, whether you got Shife or Zai, we got E-Mix that work with us, just all the staff at the label, everybody go hard for him, because they know all right, this is a good person. He treat everybody with respect. So yeah, no, Rob is superstar, man. He just as long as he is, the only thing that can stop Rob is Rob, man.
Right, yeah. But the dopest thing I see about Rob is he always cater to New Orleans. If he has access to work with anybody he wants to, but he still makes sure if he actually includes the city of New Orleans.
Yeah, because like I said, again, it goes back to character, right? And you got, Cash or Frankie or, all these guys, Abby, all these guys that he was working with before he blew up, he's found a way to involve them in his journey since he got signed. So, That's just who he is. And he loved New Orleans. Like, shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, the first time, it's crazy. The first time I came to New Orleans for us to meet in person, he pulled up, picked me up from the hotel. We go straight to the projects. So we in the project. I need to go to the store. He like, all right, store right here. We go in the store. It's this kid, man. He could have been no more than 10 years old. So we go in the store. I'm paying for my stuff at the counter. The kid like walk up. He like, you Rob49, right? He like, yeah. So he like, man, can I take a picture? So Rob take a picture with him. So Rob take the kid phone and put his Instagram handle in there so he could tag him in the picture. And the dude just start bust out crying. And I'm looking, he's like, I can't believe Rob49 is holding my phone. It's like on some Michael Jackson shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? So when I seen that, and then, we just was going around, and I just seen all the people really loved him. I was like, oh yeah, it's on. Right. Yeah, like, that's genuine. Like, you can't fake that. You know what I'm saying? You can't make that up. Like, because even at the time, like, his YouTube wasn't going crazy. Rob wasn't popping online like that. But, like, he had that real, the people really, like, genuinely love him. So it's like, of course he gonna put on for New Orleans, because New Orleans put on for him.
Right. And, like, the dopest thing, I heard from, like, people in the music industry, like, Rob is, like, different from, most New Orleans people you meet, because, like, like, most artists, seem like they gotta, actually feel like they got, feel like they on a gangster all the time. Rob come off as, very humble and respectable, and like everybody else got a field player attitude.
Yeah, so, I mean, like I said, that comes from the upbringing, right? You know what I'm saying? Like the things that his mother and father instilled in him. Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? So he, like I said, he's a very respectful person. You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna play though. You know what I'm saying? So like niggas gotta know that he ain't about to play. So. Can't come playing around and shit.
Gotcha. So, being in the music industry for over, 20 plus years now.
Yeah.
And like, what do you enjoy most about it? And like, what do you actually hate about it?
What do I hate about it? Ain't too much I hate about it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's fake ass motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I've been fortunate enough in my life where God has blessed me to have like really good people surround me. So I've been good, bro, for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? My whole journey I've been surrounded by love and wisdom. So it's like I ain't really had to deal with too much. You deal with fake shit here and there, but it's limited because it's like a person can only do what you allow them to do. So I don't even allow people to be in my space that's on that. So, yeah, I've been good, man. I've been blessed. So I ain't really too much I can say I hate about the music industry. I just love music. Like, I love the idea of you come up with something that you just talk about and then you actually make that shit happen. You know what I'm saying? So to see the concept turn to reality, it's like a high for me, and I don't think that part is never gonna get old. So it's like that's why I knew this is the life for me.
Gotcha. So I have this question. I'm like, actually before we leave, like, how do you manage having like all those clients?
Like I said, it's just prioritizing time. Like everybody feels like their thing is the most important, which it is. Like everybody that I work with is very important to me. It's just prioritizing time and knowing like, okay, this has to be done today. Cause you know what I'm saying? Like, right when we finish a Rob project, you know what I'm saying? Like another artist might be starting their project, but it's like, okay, cool, you go do that. Cause you don't really necessarily need me there to do that part. Like once we get things rolling, go do your creative part. I'll put my input in when I need to. But if it's the crunch time of finishing a project and, dealing with the label on getting the producer agreements clear, dealing with sample clearances, making sure we got the stems, the mix and masters is good, the artwork, you know what I'm saying? And it's a team of us that do it, so it ain't just me. So it's a team of people where I have to focus on all those different things. But, again, when you're crossing the finish line versus starting, it's like, this is what I got to deal with today. So it's just prioritizing time for real. That's the biggest obstacle and having multiple clients. But I'm figuring it out. I ain't perfect either. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody can tell you, like time management. I've been super improving on that. Like that's one of my focuses. Like all the time is just focusing on time management as much as I can. But I'm a work in progress too. But I make it work.
Gotcha. So, what's your advice, actually to someone, that's watching this interview and like thinking about jumping in actually through, becoming one, a manager.
If you want, you gotta love it. Like, don't do this shit because you just think you can make some money. Cause trust me, like it's times where this shit don't make no money. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm in a different place in my career now, so I'm doing pretty well for myself. But it's times where this shit wasn't working like that. So it's like if you gonna do it because you love this shit. Don't do that shit for nothing. That's the only reason you should do this shit is if you love it. Don't do that shit for no other reason other than you absolutely love this shit and this is what you supposed to be doing.
Gotcha. So tell us actually what's next for you.
I mean, what's next? Shit, just keep growing. You know what I'm saying? Like Helliver got a bunch of shit on the way. GMO Stacks got a new project on the way. My artist Nisha Nashay, she got a record called Jackpot out right now. That's starting to it's creating some substantial buzz. So we got a game plan for that. We got my artist Bria Leslie. She got some things in the works that she's working on. One of the people that I do some consulting for, Brooklyn Queen, her and the label she signed to, B&B, they just did a deal with Steve LaBelle. So congratulations to Brooklyn. Like she put in a lot of work. Like you know what I'm saying. And she's so young because she gonna be 18 in July, and like to watch her over the last 3 years and the work and the sacrifice her and her mother put in to be successful is commendable. Like they really sacrificed a lot. Like being with their family and all that stuff. So shout out to Brooklyn Queen, and then
but right, shout out to her because she actually came down here and actually did an interview with us.
Oh yeah, no, Brooklyn gonna work, man. Yeah. Like Brooklyn, she not afraid to work. You know what I'm saying? She gonna do the work. She not boo. She a superstar too. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever it's gonna be, music, TV, film, whatever she gonna do, she a superstar. She just got that mentality. And then it's another Kevo Hendricks, aka Stay a While. Him and Brooklyn do they work together. He on her production team along with Dre Butters and Jupiter. My man Energy Beats. Energy, you know what I'm saying? He got a lot of things. He just was on the Fast. He had a song with Elite Chopper and Nardo Wick is on that song, I believe. Yeah, on the Fast and Furious soundtrack. So that was a big accomplishment. His record 550 Degrees just went platinum. So Energy. Man, got a lot of things in the works, man. You know, Rob shit keep going up. Shout out to Ghetto Baby Boom, YB and Lil Bro. Like, yeah, we just working, man. Be loading too. So, B.O. New Orleans, like, he did Vulture Island. Just got him a situation, so just working in the, he 18, just graduated high school, so just really putting him in a situation to develop relationships and just keep growing as a producer.
Gotcha. And also, but last but not least, I'm at Teleworld. Actually only working in fire on social media and just everywhere.
You can find me Handz Up Management. HANDZUP on the gram. Cedric Louie on Twitter. CEDLOUIE. I don't be on Twitter. I need to get my Twitter game up. Nisha always be telling me I need to get my Twitter game up. I ain't been on Twitter. I used to be on Twitter a lot. I ain't been on Twitter like crazy lately. But you can always find me on the gram and shit. You can reach out to me there, and I go through my DMs. a couple days a week, I go through my DMs and listen to music that people send me on there and just connect with people. I think shit, me and you connected on the ground. You know what I'm saying?
I'm actually about to send you an artist but later.
Yeah, so you know, shit, you can hit me on social media. I be around. Shit, you see me in public, don't feel afraid. Shit, come talk to me. I'm good. I ain't what to do.